Hello, friends. Welcome to the Cold War Prepper. My name is Lee, and do me a favor, if you would please hit the like and subscribe buttons. That would be fantastic. My hair, I can't do anything with it today. I guess it's the humidity. Uh, but anyhow, we'll wait a couple minutes, see how many people come on. We're getting ready to get into our nonfiction book club. So that's typically on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock. We are discussing this time United We Stand by David Kobler, who is Southern Prepper One. So it's a pretty good book. I like this little book, and it's only 10 chapters. We'll do two a night for 5 consecutive weeks. But I want to give you a chance so that you have an opportunity to buy it and to read it, and then we can kind of have an intelligent discussion about it. Hello, Diana, too. Hello, Muskoka Oma, yeah, Grandma. Welcome. So good to see both of you. But anyhow, I did kind of do a little bit of preparation today. I was kind of inspired by an email that I received. Who is that email from? So this is from Urban Survival Site, and they send out an email on a regular basis. And so they kind of sent out 20 things to do if you're bugging in. And I don't like the term bugging in because bugging to me implies running. So I don't know how you can run in. So I stick with the old terminology we used back in the 50s and 60s and 70s, and that's hunker down. So I'm going to call it 15 points for hunkering down, and that'll be so that's what I kind of will call it this evening. Give you some ideas around that. So I'll give you a minute or two. Grab a piece of paper and something to write with. And also, if I have this all written out, so my notes. So if you want a copy of it, do me a favor, send me an email and just request me, just tell me you would like a copy of my 15 points for hunkering down. And maybe together we can turn this into a book. I don't know. But anyhow, I just figured it would be something, hello, KP Heathen, something that we could use as a framework to talk about books and things that are going on, and especially the books I referred to last night in last night's live. So I did give a copy for the LDS survival manual. And so that is the very first link in last night's show notes. I also have the Amazon links for the other books that I mentioned. I put in the Amazon links for the Reliant 6-gallon water jugs, the Water Brick 3.5-gallon water jugs, and for the Aquamira water preservative. So all those are in the show notes from last night. So that is all up to date now. If you want to go back and review that, if you want to check out any of those links, that'll be fine too. Hello, CP. Welcome. Well, we got 7 people here already. That's fantastic. So let's go ahead and run through my 15 points for hunkering down. I think most of my followers are kind of the hunker down persuasion. I do have, a bug out bag. I do have a I'm never coming home bag. I have a get home bag. I have a everyday carry bag. I mean, I've got all kinds of bags. Probably too many bags. But my primary opinion is I'm just going to stay right here where I'm at. And so, hello, Bus Stop, welcome. And so I want to kind of give you some of my things that I'm thinking about that are going to be critical. This is kind of loosely based off of the 15 or 20 things that they talked about in that email that I received. I will also put a link in tonight's notes. I'll put a link if you would like to receive those notes from Urban Survival Site. If you'd like to enroll and get and receive their emails, fantastic company. They also have a fantastic getting started in prepping, a very introductory, rudimentary prepping introductory course that they can send to you. So, pretty good information, and I think they do a good job with what they do. Hello, Holly Irvins, welcome. So, if you've got your writing implement and paper ready, my 15 points for hunkering down. Number 1, don't expect to do it yourself. There's no way you can survive as a lone wolf. So if possible, hello, Prepper Book Club, welcome. So if possible, get a coalition of people together, family, neighbors, friends, start talking about it, church, get some people from church that are going to join with you. But just do me a favor, get a small coalition of people who are going to work together to ensure mutual survivability. in your hunker down scenario. In one of Selko Begovich's books, he doesn't come out with a specific number, but he comes out with a recommendation, and that is you need to have somebody guarding your hunker down area. I'm going to call it the Alamo for lack of a better word. You're going to need somebody there to guard the Alamo while you're out doing things, gathering water, cutting firewood, fishing, hunting, trapping, foraging, whatever. If you're outside of your Alamo, you need a minimum of 2 people, one to do the work and one to do overwatch. And that is make sure, stand off a little bit behind so that you don't get jumped by somebody. Selko talks about in his first book that he recommends having 2 overwatch people. So if you're going to go barter, then you're going to be doing the barter. You got 2 overwatch people. You got 2 people guarding the abode, the Alamo. That's a total of 5 people. So the very minimum you're going to have in order to make this work is going to be 5 people. So that's what I recommend. Number 2, maintain a constant armed guard 24 hours a day in every direction around the Alamo. Hello, Mitch J. Welcome. So number 1, make it as difficult as you can for other people to incur into your area. Tangle wire. I showed you in my prepper haul, not this last Saturday, but the Saturday before. In Franklin Horton's books, he recommends bank line along with or fishing wire along with the catfish bells that you get on your you can get at the fishing area at Walmart. And you can also do the same thing. We did it in Vietnam, where you take a can, and you put a couple pebbles in it, and you just put a hole through each end of the can and set that on the wire. Then when people touch the wire, the can vibrates and the pebbles inside make a little bit of noise. Difficult part about this. So make yourself some sort of an alarm system, and trip wires would be great. Plant some rose bushes or other kinds of thorny bushes underneath your windows to make those a little bit more of an obstacle so that people can't get in. Tangle wire is just wire spread out kind of like an X fashion spontaneously out in your yard, so that as people are walking, especially at night, that's when most bad things have a tendency to happen, is at night. They won't see the wire and they'll trip and they'll fall and they'll scream and cuss and everything else. And it kind of gives you an alert that something's going on outside. So, you want to do that to augment your guards. And then the second part of that is have your guards adjust their eyes at night before they go outside. So don't let them look into, hello, Joseph G. Welcome. And Pat, welcome. So don't let your guards look at any white light or candle light or a lamp light or anything like that for a half hour before they go out on guard duty. So the cones in your eyes will adapt to the darkness within 10 minutes. But then they're going to be overtaken because your cones, remember, the ones during the daytime that see the color and things like that. At night, you want your rods to be dominant. And it may take up to 2 hours for those to come into dominance. On submarines in the military, we have red lights inside of our vans. So we had red lights inside so that whenever the door handle turned for my intercept van and you open that, it automatically turned the white light off and everything went red light. So that way, no light emanated outside of it. So you could have, and they do the same thing with submarines, is before they surface at night, they'll go to red light conditions for half an hour before they actually surface, so that everybody's light cones and rods are adapted to night vision before they surface and they aren't blinded and not being able to see at night. So when I researched this, it says, this is a quote I took out of something. It says, the cone cells adapt within 10 minutes, but then are overtaken in performance by the rod cells. The rod cells can take several hours to become completely dark adapted and reach their peak sensitivity in low light conditions within a couple hours. So that's what you might want to do for your guards, or your guard mounts in the evening. Hello, who's your prepping nurse? Welcome. Another part of that is don't look directly at something at night. So your cones in front see things directly in front, and your rods are off to the side. So they kind of look at it kind of peripherally. So The thing is, you have a blind spot at night. So if you're looking directly at something at night, you're using your cones instead of your rods, you're not going to see it. If you look off a little bit, look off to the side a little bit, so that your cones are focusing on something else, then your rods off to the sides are going to see any movement or anything else at night. So you want to depend upon those rods more so than your cones with your night vision. Now, then the other thing is, gosh, I've got runny nose tonight. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I should have held my mic closed. In the Army, we call them LPOPs for a very good reason, listening post and observation post. So not only are you going to be concerned about your eyes and what you see, you're also listening. And at nighttime, especially when we're going to have reduced ambient noise, I'm within, gosh, maybe 3 miles that way is an interstate, and maybe 3 miles that way is a toll road. And so in between the two, you can still, at night, you can hear the traffic on those two roads. When we don't have anything moving, there's not going to be that ambient noise. And so you'd be surprised what you're going to hear at night. In a combat arena, the LPOP, you're probably going to hear something way before you ever see it. So make sure that people are well attuned to their hearing and that they can listen to things and be aware of what's going on. Small things, you can hear small things a mile away. The flicker of a match. In World War I, the theory was third man on a match got shot by a sniper because that was about the amount of time, just the light from that match, a half a mile away, 3 seconds would give you enough time to sight in on that match and shoot the person. Thank you, Sumi. You're absolutely correct. And then number 3, make sure you have a fire guard. And I know for a lot of civilians, this is not something you typically hear. In the military, we have it in every barracks every night. You have somebody who's up watching for fire. So we're going to be changing the way we live. We're not going to have nice heat. We're not going to have light. We're not going to have all these different kinds of things, electricity and everything else. We're going to have candles. We're going to have kerosene lanterns. We're going to have things, maybe a wood stove burning, so that we're providing heat. Anytime you have an open flame anywhere in your Alamo, make sure you have somebody who's awake watching so that they can take care of that if it goes out of control. So that you just want to have somebody watching the candles, watching the fire, whatever, just to make sure that it doesn't go out of control. Hello, Barb. Welcome. Likewise, when you cook indoors, unless you have a source, or don't cook indoors unless you have a source that is approved for indoor cooking. So, and this is going to be in my prep pantry haul this coming weekend. I've got 2 different kinds of fuel. This is butane, and this is safe for internal use for inside the house. But you don't want to push that too far. And then I've also got a case of Safe Heat chafing fuel. That's safe for indoor use as well. But you don't want to push it. You always want to make sure that you're cautious. So when you use those 2, make sure that you have a fire extinguisher close by. Also, make sure that you have one of these, a carbon monoxide detector. I would also say make sure you have a working smoke detector if possible. But you got to be kind of cautious about that smoke detector, because we're going to talk about noise discipline here in a little bit as well. Number 4. Never leave your Alamo unguarded. At least 1 or 2 people must be inside the Alamo guarding it at all times against intrusion. People are going to be watching you for when you leave so that they can go in and take what you have. So that means that, there's no way you can be a lone wolf, because if you leave, nobody guarding your stuff. Hello, Little Lone Prepper. Welcome. Number 5, ensure that you have a readily available, extremely close water supply. Now, that can be several different things. That can be a well, that can be running water, a stream, a lake, a river, a creek, whatever, a pond, a lake for semi-moving water, a rain catchment system. Just make sure you have something where you don't have to go too far to get water. Soko talks about in his first book um, that going out to get water was when the snipers were most active. Water and firewood were the two things, and they always did both of those at night to try to avoid being shot by a sniper. So that you just be very, very aware. Store as much firewood, store as much water as you can right now. Make sure you get as close as possible to a water supply. The house we had, the big house we had that we sold when we downsized, I was, on our property line, there was a spring-fed creek, and that would have provided me with uh, you know, gosh, an awful lot of water, because that fed down into Brushy Creek, which was, uh, um, for those of you who don't know, uh, Brushy Creek is the creek that crosses through the city of Round Rock. And so when the John Chisholm was driving his cattle from southern Texas up to Abilene to put on the rail cars, they brought them up the Chisholm Trail, and we are right on the Chisholm Trail. And so they crossed Brushy Creek at the Round Rock in the middle of the creek. And so the creek is a small river, you might call it. But there was a safe, gradual entrance on both sides. And when the water levels down, the rock looks like a mushroom. And I'll see if I can get a picture sometime and show it to you. But but anyhow, that's where John Chisholm and his cattle would cross at that creek. So that's where that spring fed into, was into Brushy Creek. And we don't have that here. The closest water I have is a river maybe 2 miles away. So I had to get a rain catchment system. So make sure you have some sort of water and fuel source available to you. Get a guard dog. I've got 3 Chihuahuas. They bark at anything and everything. They bark at the trash trucks when they pick up the trash and the recyclables. If somebody's walking a dog outside, I don't know how they know that they're doing it, but they bark. If I get up and grab my cane and put on my shoes, they know I'm leaving and they bark. I mean, they bark at anything and everything. So, having a guard dog is going to be extremely beneficial to you. I would say probably not an ankle biter, but maybe, something more substantial, a friendly, trainable guard dog, something like a Rottweiler or a Pit Bull, German Shepherd, one of those larger breeds of dogs that you can typically train into being a combat dog. So that would probably do you extremely well. Okay, now number 7. Gosh, I'm just got burps like you would not believe. Number 7, noise discipline. Cut out all extraneous noise, and try to control your dogs as much as possible, but let them do their thing. But you don't want too much noise, especially anything that sounds celebratory or anything like that inside your Alamo, where people might be able to hear a lot of movement or anything outside, because you're going to try to be great. You're going to try to be as boring as possible. So the more noise you make inside your house, the less boring you are. The less boring you are, the more attractive you are to thieves and malcontents. If you have a generator, use it very sparingly. I would use it during the daytime hours only, simply because at nighttime, for some reason, noise travels probably 3 to 5 times greater distances than it does during the daytime. So you're going to be the minute you start up a generator or any gas-powered implement, a leaf blower, an edger, a mower, anything like that, you can hear those when there's no ambient noise and it's nighttime. I am going to say you could probably hear those at least a mile away. So that would be something else you might want to consider. If you have solar, use it in an inconspicuous manner. I mean, it's hard to hide those panels on the roof. I got 24 of them up here on the west side of the house. That's kind of difficult to hide. However, the good news is they face towards the house next to me. So the sides that you can see from the street, you can't see my panels from the street. So that's kind of good news. But you don't want, there are ways you can betray the fact that you have solar with battery backup, and that would be, not watching your light discipline. Oh gosh, look at this. Uh, Muskoka Mount Oma says she has a 110-pound pyre doodle. So I'm going to guess that's a poodle mix and a 60-pound pitty Roddy and bulldog mix. Okay, so pit bull. I'm going to guess Rottweiler and bulldog mix. Wow, unbelievable. Yeah, I would love to have a standard poodle. I would love to have a standard poodle. I think that's probably one of the most underrated guard dogs that there are. Remember, the poodles were originally hunting animals. They were part of the sporting breed. And the reason that you got the classic French poodle cut is because the French used them as waterfowl retrieval. So they would shoot a goose or something like that, and the dog would jump into the water and retrieve the fowl. Well, their hair is more like cotton than hair. And so that's why you have to be trimmed. And that hair would absorb all that water, and the poodle couldn't swim. So what that classic French poodle cut is because they would cut all that hair away to minimize the amount of water that would waterlog the dog when they go out to get their ducks and geese and things that were being hunted by the French nobility. Sumi, you are absolutely correct. Chainsaw noise, any kind of an internal combustion engine is going to be heard for a long way. But chainsaws in particular, yes. Not only do you have the engine, but you got the clanking of the chain. You've got the speed of that chain going around and everything else. So yeah, it does a lot of of noise. Happy Hickman Homestead, welcome. I want to check an email real quick. I think this is my buddy Jack from Australia. He just changed his name of his changed the name of his channel. And so let me see here. Hill Summit Homestead is what his new name is. Okay. So Auslander Jack is now Hill Summit Homestead. Oh gosh, what a beautiful dog, I imagine. Yes, absolutely. I had a poodle, best dog ever, and all of my German friends laughed because I called him Arco, and evidently Arco is one of those German dog names that means big, violent, and this was a toy poodle, but I called him Arco, and he was probably one of the best dogs I've ever had. He was phenomenal. I just love poodles. Wait, now we have Chihuahuas. Okay, so let me see where we are. Noise discipline we're still working on. So some things like exhaust hoods, bathroom exhaust fans, those kinds of sounds when you turn them on. If you think you're going to use your restroom and you want to evacuate that odor, turning on that fan, especially at night in a non-ambient noise environment, can be a telltale sign that you have battery power, and your neighbors may want to know what's going on. Remember here, what we're trying to do is we're trying to be boring and gray. We don't want to attract anybody's attention. We want them to think that we are just like them in almost every circumstance. The next one's going to be number 8, light discipline. So right now, think of getting the heaviest, darkest blankets. Wool blankets work fantastic. Or you can get some blackout curtains. If you go to Lowe's or to Home Depot, Ace Hardware, somewhere like that, they should have blackout curtains. If you can get those, cover all of your windows. Anything that was going to be able to allow light into the house will also allow light out of the house. So you want to cover all those windows and doors and everything else with a heavy fabric, dark color, so that it doesn't reflect the light, doesn't bounce around and then go out the window anyway. You want it to absorb that with dark colors. And that's going to keep people outside from knowing that you have light going on inside. So that'll protect you. If you have electricity, like we'll have, won't show your lights on. It won't show candles, kerosene lanterns, flashlights, or anything like that. However, be very, very cautious. I will tell you, our old home that we sold and moved in here had a skylight in the kitchen. Now we had 12-foot ceiling, but and then it had a very high peak. So I'm going to say it was probably 25 feet up in the air to the ceiling where that skylight was. But that light's going to be just like the Tower of the Americas. That's going to be that beacon that goes up that people are going to be able to see. Don't forget to cover your skylights if you have any, because those will be another source of light going outside. Uh, Johnson American Bulldog. I don't know what the Johnson breed is, but I know that I'd love to have a bulldog too. They're so friendly. Yeah, sorry, Isabella. I don't know where she is. She's on the couch. Our black long-haired teacup Chihuahua is all of 3 pounds, and she's 15 years old. So it's to the point now to where I have to help her off the couch, onto the couch. She tries to jump off the patio. It's maybe 5-6 inches onto the grass. She's having a hard time doing that. So we're giving her glucosamine and CoQ10 and all these other kinds of things for her hips and joints. We're just hoping that we can keep her for a while and keep her with a level of life that is acceptable. Yes, absolutely. That's another good point to bring out. Thank you, Sumi. So that's very, very important. It's going to be very important that you keep your home insulated. So some of the places where you lose most of your heat or you lose most of your cooling, whichever you're trying to accomplish, is going to be through your windows. So if you notice, if I open this window, this is a western setting sun. So this is going to be right behind me. I'd be facing towards the setting sun. So in the afternoons, probably about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we change all of our Venetian blinds so that it's reflecting the sun back and we don't have any direct sunlight coming into the house. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 sets of windows that face due west. And so that evening sun here in Central Texas, from about 2 p.m. until around 8:30, 9 p.m. at least through August, is horrible as far as if it penetrates in, causing heat inside the house. I think it was 107 here again today. So another part of that light discipline, we're still on number 8, light discipline. Don't go outside using a flashlight or anything like that. If you can afford to get night vision stuff, get night vision stuff. If not, do that trick we talked about with the guards in number 2, and that is get your eyes adjusted to the night. So, get away from any lights or anything else for about a half an hour before you have to go outside. So whether this is emptying your sanitation, your trash bags, dumping your trash, dumping your potty, gathering firewood, gathering water, anything like that, you don't want to have any direct light in the outside because you'll just become a target for other people. So try to use as much of your night vision as you can. Now, it's going to be difficult in extremely total dark conditions, but as long as there's some ambient light, moon especially, full moon, it's going to be very nice and bright, but you also have to be very stealthy because you become a target because everybody can see you. That's a disadvantage. The easier it is for you to see things and not stumble over them, the easier it is for the bad guys to see you and what you're doing as you're doing that. So that can become a major issue. I'm going to talk about light discipline in another sense. I'm going to take this off on a little bit of a tangent from light discipline. Let's call it vision discipline. So be very, very cautious about cooking outdoors during the daytime. I don't know if you've noticed, but if you go outside, you can always tell when somebody's grilling and they started up their charcoal, and all of a sudden you got this big puff of smoke in there, and you got this odor. You can tell for 2 blocks away somebody's grilling. So you've got the number 1, you've got the olfactory senses, your odor senses are going on. Number 2, you've got the smoke going up. You can see it. You don't want to cook outdoor at night because that's going to be the flame and the heat is going to be light. And then in another video I also talked, I don't have it in my notes here, I talked about convection currents. And so, that's the thing in the desert where you see the ripple effect, that's the heat. And so the same thing, you have convection currents when you have heat. So it's going to cause that rippling when people are looking directly at the exhaust plume or the smoke plume of something, even though there's no smoke. It could be the heat that's rising, and that causes those convection currents, and people can see that and say that there's a fire, more than likely a fire directly underneath. So that's kind of, let's, make sure you maintain smoke discipline. Um, yeah, and we're going to have a blue moon this month. We're having 2 full moons this month. And so that's going to be a blue moon, once in a blue moon, right? Um, then Diana too says that they make red light flashlights. Yes, they do. And they have red light and green light flashlights. Both of them are good. I prefer the red simply because that's what I'm used to in the military. So, like, one of the things that we don't do in the military is if you have a red flashlight, anything you've written in red does not show up because it filters it. So you try not to write anything in red. And another thing is, I don't know why, but the hospital I go to, the radiology department, when they want you to sign in, they always have a red pen there for you to sign in. And I use my own. I write in blue ink, and they always look at me and said, DA Form 6, okay, Department of the Army Form 6, the morning report by the first sergeant. The only time you ever see a soldier's name in red is the day after their KIA, and they're written in the morning report in red ink as a KIA. So soldiers aren't supposed to ever see their names written in red. Just one of those superstitious things. So good idea, Little Lone Prepper. I hadn't thought of that, but you're absolutely right. Great addition. I'll make sure I add that to the notes as a great suggestion. Okay, number 9, odor discipline. So we don't think about it, but as Sumi says in her next comment, ooh, barbecue. You can always tell when somebody's grilling. Okay, you can smell that charcoal lighting up. You can smell the grilling of the steak itself. You can smell all these wonderful smells. My favorite is we have a place called Rudy's Barbecue, and in Round Rock, and they have outdoor pits. And so when you drive by, oh my God, the smell is just phenomenal. We don't want to have that. We don't want to let people know that we're grilling, great stuff. And so, that can be important. Hi, Joseph G. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yes. So the tiny red light on your keychain is absolutely fantastic. And so now, Muskoka, I think you understand probably why. Odor discipline. So you've got 2 problems here. Okay. So number 1 is going to be whatever you're using to do the cooking. So a wood-based fire, a charcoal-based fire, a whatever fire is going to have its own odor. That's what you can smell. Even things like the butane, the chafing dish fuels, things like that, they have a small odor. They're going to be greatly reduced. I would prefer those to using charcoal or wood out in the backyard. Oh, that's another good one. Little Lone Prepper for at nighttime for being discreet is making sure you don't have anything reflective on you. So wear dark clothes and don't have anything reflective on you. Yeah, and see, and you're bringing up what to me is obvious, and thank you for doing that, because these are some of the things that we were taught to do that, in my mind, it just becomes natural. And so thank you for reminding me of that. But we do things like tape our dog tags together, or we had little covers that we purchased for our dog tags so that they didn't clink together and make a noise. Later on, they came out with these black chains for our dog tags. So, that's what I use here. Let me see if I can get this. There we go. Yeah, that's my black chain. So I have a black chain instead of a silver chain. Same type of a thing. This is my civilian watch. I have a subdued black Casio watch I use when I was in the military. So yeah, you don't want anything that's going to reflect sunlight, starlight. Somebody accidentally points you out with a flashlight. You want to absorb that. You don't want to reflect it back. So great suggestion. Thank you, Little Lone Prepper. So there are special coatings that you can get and talk to your optometrist. They can put a non-reflective coating on that. I had the special non-reflective coating put on all of my scopes for my rifles. And so that, because that's one of the other things is on your rifle, if you have a scope, that scope can reflect light as well and give you away your position. And That's something we learned in World War II is be cautious of that reflection. So we talked about the fire itself. Now we're going to talk about the food. So you've got food and you're cooking it, right? So you can always smell the steak, you can always smell the ribs, you can always smell the chicken, all those kinds of things. You want to avoid that. Okay. So I want you to consider a calendar of what your friends are doing. So the vast majority of Americans are 9 meals away from anarchy. And we were talking last night. And I said, yeah, I think 5 of those have already gone by. They've only got 4 left. So most of your neighbors aren't going to have a whole bunch of food. So once the power goes out, once we're in a threat condition, people are going to want to cook what they have in their fridge. Do that for the first 3 to 5 days. Go outside, grill away, cook everything that's in your freezer and refrigerator. That's exactly what everybody else is going to be doing. You're going to be fitting right in with the crowd. Then as they get all that cooked, okay, then they're going to start reverting back to their canned goods and stuff like that. So I'm going to say probably 7 days after the event, somewhere 7 to 10 days after the event, you don't want to be seen cooking because they have used up all their food. If you're seen or smelled cooking, then you're going to be a source of food for them. So now is the time you want to get a little bit more stealthy. So that's where I'm going to say you want to have stuff like an indoor grill, indoor stove, like the one I'll show you here in another video. You can get them on Amazon. I got one from Amazon. I got my other one when I bought my can cooker. It was part of a set. It uses these canisters for cooking. It's the same thing that the chefs use in the hotel when they're doing your eggs to order in the hotel for breakfast. Then the chafing dishes, chafing dish fuel, that's going to be a fantastic source as well. So you want to do that inside your house, but you don't want to cook food. What you want to do is you want things that you're going to cook the water and then add the water into a pre-made meal. And here, nutrient survival, for example, this homestyle breakfast scramble. Open a can of ham, pour it into your homestyle breakfast scramble, heat up some water. Boiling water doesn't have an odor. Pour that into your breakfast scramble, seal it up, let it all permeate and cook itself, open it up, and then you can eat it. This is also that time period where you probably would like to have a little bit of MREs or something like that also. So the Mountain House, nutrient survival, MREs, that's going to be good here for the next 2 weeks after the end of that first 7 to 10 days, if that makes sense. No, a solar oven is fantastic as far as you're not going to have the cooking means being able to be smelled, but you might have what is being cooked, an odor from it. So you have to be cautious there. And the bad thing about a solar oven is it can only be used outdoors. And under good conditions. So rainy conditions, well, we don't have rain here in Central Texas anyway. I don't know why I'd say that. Never mind. I don't know what rain is. We don't know what it is here. So what I want to tell you is cook like your neighbors. If you see them out cooking, you be out cooking. If they're not out cooking, don't be out cooking. Okay. And then, so MREs, canned goods can be eaten straight out of the can. That's another good one to eat for that calming down period after that first week until about a month later. Boiling food does not produce that much of an odor. So if you want to boil your beef, if you want to boil your chicken, that does not produce an odor. So that's one way of cooking indoors is, just boiling your chicken, boiling your beef, boiling whatever it is you're going to boil. And so boiled products typically do not give off odor. And I would say the same thing about a soup. A soup would be a good thing to boil or to heat up while you're in this cooling down phase of not letting people know you have food. So that's another good thing you might want to consider. Soups, just be very, very easy on the spices. Spices carry an odor that can go for quite a way. Garlic especially, onions, those even boiled, they can carry an odor quite a distance. So I'd be very, very cautious of those. Let me see, concentrate on using your don't need cooking foods first. So I'm going to go through. So my rationale here is the first week is all my neighbors are out barbecuing, grilling in the backyard, all the stuff that's in their freezer, refrigerator, they don't want to go bad. That's what I'm going to be doing. Then I'm going to come in the house. I'm going to use what things I don't have to necessarily cook. So MREs is perfect there. Then my next step is going to be anything that I have to just boil water and add to it. So nutrient survival, mountain house, peak performance, all those camping and hiking foods where you just add hot water, that's going to be my next go-to. And then after that, then I'm going to go to my stored beans, my stored legumes, pastas, and things like that. Rice. Rice is a good one to cook because all you're doing is boiling, and there's not that much of an odor with it. So, kind of think out a logical plan on how you're going to consume your food after SHTF so that other people aren't aware that you do have food. Now, here's another tip while we're here. Wait on your bread making. So if you need bread, get canned bread, or you can order tortillas from the MRE packs. They end up being a little bit expensive. I think it's $2 per package for a package of 3 tortillas. But you can come up with other bread alternatives. B&H bread, dark bread, raisin bread, things like that you might want to use up until the time that it's okay to start cooking and people have kind of expired off, let's call it. Let me get back up here. Hello, Triple G, welcome. So bust up, all I can say is that might cause you an end of life experience. And especially with people here who now know that is your intention, that's not a good plan. That's going to get you into far more trouble than anything else. So solar ovens are extremely reflective. However, I think that reflection is going to be more seen from above than it will be down inside because you're concentrating all that reflection. That's what causes the heat inside that cooking area, inside that cooking point. Let me see. Yes, I would add spices after you cooked it so that if it's necessary to have spices. Lipton cup of soup is a fantastic backpack meal. Same thing, ramen is a good one to have where you're just going to boil the noodles and, in cup of soup, there's another Asian cup of soup type deal where it's got the noodles in it. It's got shrimp packet or, beef packet or whatever of the flavoring. You just add boiling water, put the packet in, seal it over, let it steep for about 5 minutes, and you have a meal. Those are great for that after, duration where you don't want people to know that you're cooking. Good point, little lone pepper. That's what I was trying to tell him as well. So here's the problem that I found out with being with the indigenous peoples. Is that soon if you're not careful, you can smell like them. And when you smell like them, you don't smell their smell. And so that was also, some of our habits were some of the things that gave us away to them as we were approaching, especially when we were upwind. And, it was blowing down on them. So aftershave, shaving cream, toothpaste, those kinds of right guard, left guard, those kinds of things that would carry odors towards them. So we tried to stay kind of putrid, I guess would be the way to say it. That kept you alive a lot longer. Neighbors might be boiling water outside for purification. If so, save the indoor fuel and boil your water for food outside. That is a possible opportunity. I hadn't thought of that. I'm not so sure I would want to try it, to be honest with you, but it is a possibility. I have to give you credit. That is a very well thought out thing. And yes, I think that's a good point. So I continue to debate. I think I showed you in a video my InstaFire heating system that uses the chafing dish fuel. You put 3 inside, and one of them operates the fan. The other 2 provide the heat. So you can, during Ice-Mageddon here in Central Texas, we used it to heat one room, our bedroom. And so that was safe, for us to do inside the bedroom. And that was very, very good for that. Um, where was I going with that? I don't know where I was going with that. I lost it. Oh well, that's how life goes. Um, so I know where I was going with that. I would use that indoors, something like that indoors to boil my water indoors. I don't want to be seen outdoors very much, especially if I'm boiling water. Then the question becomes one of where did I get the water from? And so people might come over. I've already told my next door neighbor that the 55-gallon water bucket here on the side of the house between our houses, she can take all of that she wants to. So I'm trying to build that relationship and just trust and everything else. Um, hadn't thought of that. Good suggestion. We'll have to try that and check that out and see how that works. Um, yes, yes. And so I like the Norse soups. I like the rice-a-ronis. I like the pasta side dishes. I like the instant mashed potatoes. You can also get gravy that you just add hot water to. There's a lot of great little packets that you can get. Then Subi, I think is the name of the company. They have some tuna snacks, different flavors, spiced flavors. It comes with crackers and tuna. So there's all kinds of things you can use for meals to eat to keep yourself alive while you're trying to outlive the people around you without them knowing that you have anything. Um, okay, number 10, appearance discipline. That's a new term I've made up. I don't know anybody else has talked about it, but rule number one within appearance discipline is don't be the fat guy in the land of the emaciated. That's going to give you away that you're eating and they're not. So, just try to ration yourself, try to make sure you're doing what you need to stay alive, but don't make it appear as if you are overeating. That's one sure way to get your house broken into. Number within 10B, don't appear too clean out in public. And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the garlic and odors and everything else. You don't want to be too clean. You want to be clean, but not too clean. Because if you are too clean, that's another obvious sign to your neighbors that you've got a lot of stuff that they don't. So you want to be kind of grungy, but not necessarily overly grungy, but you don't want to be overly clean as well. Um, huh. I guess that is great for evaporative purposes in the summer, and it might be great as far as padding in the winter as well. Uh, oh, I see what you're saying. I got it. Yeah. So that it looks like you've lost weight. Quite a brilliant idea. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So if you wear, that'd be easy for me. I mean, um, I've got a whole bunch of 36-inch waist clothes in the closet, and I'm wearing 38s right now. So yeah, that would be great. If I could buy some 40s, I guess, until I get there. Triple G Farm says the spam. Wow, Muskoka Oma, that's a great idea. I got to add that. Um, close one size bigger. I will modify my list here. I got it. Um, so Triple G talks about the spam packs, and chicken packs are very good. You got spam, tuna, chicken. Yes, all of those. You can also get the singular little single serving um, retort pouches of spam of different things. So yeah, all of those are great for that in between time. Diana 2 says, I try to remember that I may not have refrigeration, so I may have to be able to store leftovers, which is why up until just recently, when I bought my long-term food storage, my pepper pantry, I almost always invested in number 2.5 cans instead of number 10 cans, because what I wanted to do was open it up, use it, because I wouldn't have any way to keep it for a long period of time. I wanted to use it up so it didn't go bad, and then open up a fresh one. Whereas with the number 10 can, you've got to use that pretty quickly before it starts rehydrating in the can. So yes, Wise observation. Good suggestion. Gosh, I'm having a problem with my gastro this evening. I eat probably 2 cups of pistachios. That's what's probably doing it for me. So pool chlorine tablets are awesome for disinfecting. Add a quarter tablet to 2 gallons. Okay, fantastic. And I would make sure I filter that as well, like through a coffee filter, so you're getting rid of any large clumps or anything like that. But great suggestion. Thank you. Um, the unfortunate thing is Muskoka is I'm going the opposite direction. I'm not losing weight. I'm gaining weight. So all of my clothes are too small. I need to get them to where I can have some that are too big. Um, yes, I think we'll all start losing weight. So 10C, if a ration truck or anything comes out, then they're giving, and you see it's the government, and they're giving things away, stand in line and take it. Your absence will be noted. If you don't need it like everybody else does, the thought they're going to have is, why doesn't Lee need this? Why isn't he out here with us? So make sure you're out there getting exactly the same thing that they are, even if you're just going to bring it inside and add it back into your pantry. D, help your neighbors out as much as you can. Foster good relations. Do not create enemies. If you can sacrifice something for their benefit, for their good, do that so that you are engendering a good, positive relationship between the two of you. A good deed done for them will be repaid, hopefully in a good way and not in a bad way. So, number 10E, never show what you have. And when you barter food, only show the original container if you're willing to give away what's in the original container. So I think I've talked about this several times. You're probably all getting tired of hearing it. My intention is I either have individual packets, or if I have a big jar, let's say of oatmeal, okay, then what I'll do is I'll take that oatmeal, I'll pour out the vast majority of it, let's say 75% of it, into a quart canning jar and just keep it that way. And then I might write on the outside the instructions on how to cook it. But then when somebody comes to my house and they're begging for food, if I give them that canister that has just a little bit of oatmeal left down at the bottom, and I say, this is all I have, they're more likely to believe that than if I put it into a Ziploc bag and hand it to them and say, this is all I have. If you see what I'm saying, okay? So when you give them the container, it's the last at the bottom of the container, they believe you. That's the last that you can spare, and they probably won't come back for more. Okay, just the psychology behind that kind of an action. Number 11, maintain inventory of all your stockpiles. And I'm talking all of them: food, water, ammunition, sanitary products, toilet paper, trash bags, your contractor trash bags. We had the living room painted here from the hail damage. We've had the painters here for the last week, and so they've been using my trash bags and my contractor trash bags. So I got to go out and buy another box of each of those just to get back to where I was, let alone get ahead. But make sure you have plenty of contractor trash bags and kitchen trash bags. I have several, but not enough, of the biohazard bags that I'm going to use the inside for the lining of my 5-gallon bucket potties. I have 3 of those. So we're going to separate liquids and solids. Okay. And then the liquids I can just dump over the fence, and the solids I've got to go out and dispose of. So, that's going to be a little bit more problematic, but that's something else you got to include in your plans. How are you going to do that? Don't let any of those, look at your rations, look at your inventory, make sure you follow that religiously. Number 12, when it looks like it's going to get down low, when you don't have at least a month's worth of whatever left, start rationing. Do it before you run short. Don't do it as you run short. So, take a look at that. Keep a constant inventory of what you have, and then ration it as you appear like you need to get things taken care of. We talked about don't run any gas-powered things for about 6 to 8 weeks after the event. Keep all the gas you can, just in case you have to bug out. So you want all that gas available for your bug out vehicle if you have to bug out instead of using it for what a diesel or a gasoline generator or something like that. Number 14, focus your heating and cooling efforts on just one small room in your home. Don't waste all that energy trying to cool or heat your entire house. Select one room. That's going to be basically your safe room, let's call it. That's the one room you're going to try to keep warm during the winter. That's the one room you're going to try to keep cool in the summer. And so focus all your energy there. Don't waste all that energy trying to keep an entire house clean, at a comfortable temperature. Number 15, we talked about that very briefly. Plan your waste disposal. So have a place to take your trash. So that's going to be your cans, paper products, and all that kinds of stuff. Hopefully what you can do is, I know that there's a 55-gallon oil drum out here that they use as a trash can in the soccer fields out there. And so I plan on taking my trash and my fecal matter out there and burning it in that 55-gallon trash can. Then the same thing with your sewage. Make sure you have a plan for how you're going to dispose of your sewage. So that's kind of my 15 points. Let me go through those. Remember, if you would like a copy of my notes here, send me an email. Just tell me you want my 15 points for hunkering down. Number 1, don't be a lone wolf. Number 2, maintain a constant armed guard 24 hours a day, 360 degrees around the Alamo. Number 3, make sure you have a fire guard. Anytime you have anything burning, have somebody watching it to make sure that it stays in control. Keep a fire extinguisher and a carbon monoxide detector available at all times. Number 4, never leave the Alamo unguarded. Number 5, ensure you have a good water supply extremely close by. Number 6, get a guard dog. Number 7, watch out for noise discipline. Try to avoid any unnecessary noise. Number 8, watch out for light discipline. Don't let people know that you're inside your home. Number 9, odor discipline. Make sure you watch out for number 1, the smell of your cooking medium, and number 2, the odor of what it is that you are cooking. Number 10, appearance discipline. Don't be the fat man in the land of the emaciated. Look, act, and do what your neighbors are doing. Be the gray man. Be them. Be a replica of what they are. Number 11, maintain an inventory of all your stockpiles. Number 12, ration when it looks like you're starting to get short. Before you get short, ration. Number 13, don't use any gas-powered things for maybe the first 6 to 8 weeks. Preserve that fuel for a bug out if necessary. We've got a big fire, another fire here, just the next county over. They had a real big fire back in the 90s, late 90s, burnt half the county. And so it looks like it's going that way again. They've evacuated the town here just this afternoon. We're going to see more of that as this summer goes on, because we won't have any rain here in Central Texas until after Memorial Day. Or is it Labor Day? Whatever it is that we have in September. Focus your heating and cooling efforts on one room. And then number 15, plan your waste disposal. So that's my 15 notes. If you want a copy of those, I'll be happy to send you that as a Word document. Just send me an email request at coldwarprepper@outlook.com. So let me see what we've got here. Yes. So that, yeah, help each other out as much as you possibly can. Hello, ABC Patriot. Welcome. Good to see you. Oh, yeah. A swimming pool would be great. Yeah. Anything you can do to get more water purification, water filtration systems is going to be fantastic. Berkey, Alexa Pure, Sawyer, Katadyn, Survival Filter Pro. There are so many good ones out there. Zero water does not remove protozoa, does not remove bacteria, does not remove viruses. It only removes solids, heavy metals. So I'm going to go through my goal zero. So I do that filter through my cone into the goal zero, from the goal zero into my Berkey or my Alexa Pure or one of the other water purification systems, so that I'm doing it in stages, so that I'm removing it, so that I prolong the life of my very, very fine water purification systems, the Berkey, the Alexa Pure, the Water Filter Pro, those that have 0.01 microns capability. those are the ones you want to protect the most. You don't want big things clogging them up. You want to get rid of those big things so that you're only filtering out the very small things. And that's going to give you a lot longer lifespan on those. Yes, and try to keep your pipes from freezing. Although I don't think we're going to have any flowing water, so I'm not so sure that's going to become an issue in a post-SHTF environment. However, if you've got ice mageddon like we had here over the course of 3 years ago and then last year, yes, pipes froze. We don't dig our pipes very deep here in Central Texas. I think they're only something like 8 inches underground. So if you do have a hard freeze, it can freeze the pipes out in the street coming in and things like that. My last house, it was really strange. We had a 12-foot drop from one corner of the house to the other corner of the house because we were on the side of a hill. And they didn't amend the plan, so they had the water spigot in the front of the house. It was still where it should have been, like 5 bricks up from the foundation. But the foundation was 12 feet up in the air. So they had to get an extension pipe and bring it down to where I could actually use it to water my plants. But that pipe, we had a problem with it the first year. It bust when it froze. So I had to get it completely insulated. And I said, guys, this just isn't working. So I said, you've got to get this where it's going to work. So they finally put it inside the foundation of the house and then brought it out and did it like it should have been done in the first place. But yes, watch out for frozen pipes. If you have flowing water, make sure you watch out for frozen pipes. Let me see what else we got going on here. If your house is freezing and pipes freezing up, having only one warm room may not work. However, having 2 or 3 Mr. Buddy heaters will save your pipes and water heaters. Yes. And so one of the other things you can do is a case of these is like $20. So 12 of these runs about, I think it's $12. They're about $1 a can, but these safe heat chafing fuels, they are fantastic. So you can put those, get yourself what's the name of it? There is a company that makes a sterno stove. So get yourself a sterno stove or 2, and then you don't want to put that directly in the cupboard where the pipes are, but you want to open those doors and then have one of these sterno safes away from that a little bit, just where it's generating the heat and it's going to vector in to those pipes and keep them kind of warm, because you don't want to catch anything on fire with the flame from the chafing fuel. But those would be great in each one of your bathrooms or any area where you have pipes that you're concerned about freezing as well. So yeah, Mr. Buddy is a great way to go. Unfortunately, I have a Mr. Buddy, but here's my problem: is I've got Coleman fuel, I've got the butane fuel for my stove, I've got the chafing dish fuel, I've got the sterno fuel, I've got my Boy Scout fuel, which is basically I took a tuna can and then I cut cardboard so that it was 1/8 of an inch less high than the top of the tuna can, rolled it so that the corrugation was pointing up. Then I melted some paraffin and poured that in so that it permeated inside and it completely absorbed inside the fibers of the cardboard. And that's what I call a Boy Scout stove. That's what we did when I was in Boy Scouts back in the 60s. And so now if you use a side opening can opener on this tuna can, then it can reseal basically. So you use that can to snuff it out, put a rubber band around it, you've got a stove you can carry with you. That's another one of those that you can use for warming or for cooking. And since it's paraffin, it's going to be pretty much safe indoors as well. Let me see what we got. Yeah, Pat, I think we're all going to get ready to go here. We're right at an hour and 4 minutes. And so it's the first of the month. Muskoka says she has a 390-foot drilled well. Northern Ontario, Canada. It does get a little bit on the chilly side there, I understand. Okay, so David Lynn looked it up. A 12-pack of Safe Heat is about $20 at Sam's Club, and that's what I did. I got a 12-pack of the, I think it's 6-hour chafing fuel at Sam's this last Saturday. So that's what we'll be showing in our prepper hall this coming Saturday. I also ordered, I want to show that as well. I also ordered my Thrive Life order early because I was afraid of the UPS strike and it didn't happen. So I've got my uh, uh, Thrive Life order here a little bit early. So I'm going to share your screen here. This is my August special flyer right here. So if you're interested in Thrive Life, this is our special announcement. So the August special, I really like this one here. Let me get over there on that page because I'm using the wrong thing to show it. There we go. So this one over here is basically 7 number 2.5 cans, what they call pantry cans. It's a great starter. It's got 2 starches, rice and potatoes. It's got a meat, sausage. It's got dairy. It's got 2 fruits and a vegetable, and all that for roughly $116. They got the August Family canned fruit and veggie pack, strawberry slices, green beans. So these 7 here, so when we say strawberry slices, green beans, mashed potatoes, come on, doggone it, cooperate with me here, computer. Mashed potatoes, pepper jack cheese, sausage crumbles, pineapple, and instant white rice. Those are the 7 things that are in that combined special. So, if you're interested, leesprep.thrivelife.com, and you can do that. If you want to become a distributor, you can become a distributor. I will tell you, you don't get any special discounts for being a distributor. Everybody gets the same discount as far as when you're doing your order. If you get a monthly order and you're in that standing monthly order, then you do get a significant discount. It's about 15%. But the other thing is that if you do become a distributor, then 2% of whatever you buy or sell gets attributed to the sales for the person that you came in underneath them. It's a multi-level marketing system, but it's a good one. So I have never sponsored anybody. I've been a distributor since 2009. I do it just simply so I can continue to have a good quality food available to me at all times. So let's see here. Come on, mouse work. To this day, Sumi, I don't understand why we don't have 2 different water lines coming in to every home. One would be gray water and one would be clean water, white water. And I don't see why we aren't using gray water and using that for our yards and things, so that it could permeate through. That's what they do with golf courses. I wish we'd do that with the homes as well. Although as a kid growing up, we drank out of the water hose outside, so I'm not so sure we could do that anymore if we did that. Let me see. Sorry. So David bought some today. I bought mine Saturday. Utah Mike says, if your house gets that cold, drain your pipes. Yep. Okay, so that's where we are. I hope that does well for you. Don't forget, order this book. We're going to do chapters 1 and 2 next Tuesday at this time. We're going to do 2 chapters each week. So chapter 1 is the intro, and then chapter 2, this is about how to form a prepper group and how to get together with your neighbors, how you can get them working with you so that we can survive this together. If you want a copy of my notes for the 15 things I'm doing, or my 15 tips for Hunker Down, send me an email, coldwarprepper@outlook.com. I'll be happy to send you a copy of my notes so that you have them and you can just print them out and keep them. So with that, remember, probably going to have this memorized one of these decades. Numbers, chapter 6, verses 24, 25, 26. Gosh, I shouldn't eat pistachios prior to a live. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly and grant you peace. So remember that we're all in this together so we can come out the other side together. Please be kind, polite, and respectful to each other. Support all the other people here on the channel that you see, because we have fantastic people here as a crowd. We got growing channels that put out a lot of great information. So, support each other, help each other. And remember, we're all in this together so we can come out the other side together. Please remember, togetherness, not lone wolfing. is the key. So everybody, have a great evening. Have a great week. Hopefully I'll get 1 or 2 more videos out this week, but they won't be lives. Okay, take care, everybody. See you Monday night, and have a great week. Bye-bye.